Good afternoon, and thank you for joining this webinar on the PAT Chef tasks. My name is Marieke Smit, and I'm the Chief Education Specialist at IMPAC for Hospitality Studies. We just want to give a few seconds for everybody to join the webinar, and then we'll continue. Good afternoon once again, and thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Marieke Smit. I'm the Chief Educational Specialist at IMPAC for Hospitality Studies. And during the session, Solina Jordan, also Educational Specialist, will assist me with the questions. We will be focusing on the PAT Chef task today. And please feel free during the session or when we allow questions to answer or to ask questions so that we can assist. Before we start, I just want to go over a few basic things for you to participate in this webinar. If you can't hear me, please turn up your volume so that you can hear. We automatically be muted you, or you'll be muted automatically when you join the session. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand in your icon or click on your icon, and you can also ask questions in the question box. Please take note that you can also download this presentation and additional notes in the handout box, and you can send your questions to academics at IMPAC if you have any questions after the session, or if we can't get to your questions. Then also we will send out the questions, and if you don't receive it, you can email IMPAC at info@impac.co.za and ask for the answers on the questions. I will also want to for you to take note. Attendees are encouraged to ask questions and leave comments about the session. But however, if irrelevant or inappropriate comments will result in attendees to be dismissed from the session. And then after the session, you can use or can visit IMPAC YouTube channel for recordings of the session. Okay, we are going to look at the PAT Chef today. Only the PAT Chef. There's two tasks, the chef and the kelner. So today we're going to focus on the chef PAT. The PAT consists of two tasks, 11.1 and 11.2. 11.1 is the written preparation, which will count 25% of the 100 marks, and task 11.2, the practical part, will count 75 marks of the 100 marks. Please take note that both tasks can be done on one day. That includes the chef and the waiter task, or you can arrange with the assessment to do one at a time. It all depends on you and the arrangement between you and the assessor. Now, there's two ways that you can assess these tasks. In the first place, there's IMPAC assessments, which we will organize and we will do all the arrangements. So in other words, we will get the assessors, the venues, etc. Then we will send out an email for you. And in that email, we will provide an email address where you can send the proof of payment to book your place. This payment is for the parents and the guidance accounts and will be paid to IMPAC. The assessors will then write their numbers, the assessment numbers, on the barcoded pages for us to accept the marks. And just take note that there's limited space available. So please do your booking as soon as possible. Then you can also assess this task via private assessment. This means that a learner must make their own arrangements. In other words, you must get your own assessor, you must approve your own assessor, and you do the PAT with that assessor. So you completely do the arrangements with that private assessor. Now, to find an assessor or to approve a new assessor, you can send an email to assessors@impac.co.za and they will assist you. The payment is for the parents and the guidance accounts again, and it's a private arrangement. So in other words, you and the assessor will arrange the payment between you two. The assessor must also write their number on the barcoded cover page for us to accept the marks. And just take note, in grade 10 and 11, the assessor must mark both tasks It means that it is the written preparation and the practical preparation, or the practical part. And they will also mark the chef and the waiter. Okay, for 2020, we already organized PAT venues and dates. This is planned dates, and this was done before the lockdown. So we will just see what happens for us to confirm this and to send out the emails. We didn't do it yet because of the lockdown. So just take note that in a few provinces, we are arranging impact assessments. And myself and Serena will be available on that days, and we'll do the assessment with other assessors that we use. Thank you also to the schools that make their venues available for us. Then if you do a private assessment, the assessor for grade 10 to 12, take note, from grade 10 to 12, needs to apply to certain recommendations or requirements. And this will be appropriate qualification. It means that it must be a home economics, nutrition, restaurant management, hospitality qualification. And also that person needs to teach that subject for 3 years on grade 12 level. So in other words, let's say a person have a home economics degree and they didn't teach hospitality studies. We will not allow them to do that because there's a huge difference between consumer studies, home economics, and hospitality studies. So please take note of that. This person must have the relevant experience in the teaching of grade 12 on grade 12 level for the specific subject. And also a SACE number, which means this must be a teacher. We did use chefs in the past. We don't use them anymore because we had a lot of problems with the assessment and the assessment standards. So yeah, the requirements is a teacher, 3 years experience, and appropriate qualification in the subject. I also want to say that, just take note, this can't be a language teacher. This can't be a foundation phase teacher. It must be a hospitality teacher. Okay, we are going to look at the 2 tasks for the chef today. And first of all, task 11.1 is the written preparation. I just want to go through this preparation a little bit because I see that the kids struggle with this and to complete this form. So we will just discuss this a little bit in detail. First of all, if you look at the form, please make sure it looks like this, the first 2 pages. Just ignore the red because that's my explanation of what needs to be done in each column. Your name must be written there, your student number, and then name of dish 1, name of dish 2. So most of the time, like for grade 11 this year, we will do the apple pie and we will do the fish cocktail. So one will be, so let's say dish 1 is the fish cocktail and dish 2 will be your apple pie. So then you will do your preparation on that forms. So let's just do an example or 2 so that you can understand what needs to be right where on this form. You need to use your recipe, your prescribed recipe, which we'll discuss later, and complete it in this columns. So let's say you need 2 Granny Smith apples. In the first column, we will write Granny Smith apples, and then the amount will be 2, and the mise en place will be peel and cut into cubes. So that will be your mise en place. So just make use of 1 line for each ingredient, and then you must do the preparation for that ingredient in this mise en place column. Another example, let's say we use 250 ml of flour. So we will write here cake flour, and not just flour or cheese. You must indicate feta cheese or cheddar cheese or whatever. And let's say cake flour will be in the first column. The second one, 250 mils, and not only 250, but 200 mils or 250 milliliter must be indicated, and then measure off. So if you're not sure what you must do with that ingredient, you can write the measure off. So that is the first 3 columns. This goes together for the ingredients. Then we look at the equipment for the preparation and the cooking. So here you need to take your recipe and indicate what apparatus or equipment is necessary to prepare or to cook this, this dish. So let's say for the grated, the chopped onion, you use a knife and a chopping board. Some of the kids only write their knife. You must say that it's a chef knife. And you must also indicate your chopping board. And you must also mention your measuring bowl or the plate or whatever you are going to use to put those chopped onion in. So don't just write a chef knife, because they leave out a lot of equipment there and they lose marks for that. So make sure that you write all the equipment there that you're going to use. Then the next one is mise en place of equipment. And that is for your equipment, that is for your dish, and this is your ingredients. So just take note, because they get confused with all these columns. Mise en place means here that it's the things that you need to do with the apparatus or the equipment to prepare that for using while busy preparing your dish. So let's say, for example, grease your baking tray. A lot of kids just write here baking tray, or let's say cake pan. What about that? You need to say spray and cook baking cake pan, or spray and cook baking sheet, or set your oven on 180 degrees Celsius. So you must mention what you need to do. You can't just write oven, because you won't get marks for that. So that, just take note, is for the equipment, the mise en place. Then the next one is apparatus for serving and portioning. Here you need to write the apparatus that you're going to use to serve this dish. Let's say, for example, this is the fish cocktail. We will use a spoon to put the fish into the, let's say, coupe that we're going to use, and then also a fish fork and knife, or a small cake fork, or a starter, let's say a tray knife or a tray fork. Whatever you're going to use for your dish, you need to mention here. So in this case, for the fish cocktail, we will use a saucer, we will use a doily, we will use a coupe, that is the glass bowl that we're going to put it in, or a martini glass, or a nice glass that you're going to use for this, and also your fork that you're going to use. So if you we serve and spoon, we must say soup spoon and soup bowl, so that we know exactly what you're going to use for the serving and the portioning of that dish. Then the next one is your garnishing or decoration. Let's take an example here. Also, let's use the fish cocktail that you're going to do for this year. And you are going to use parsley. Then the parsley will be the garnish for this dish. And then the next one is your oven, or the temperature. So if you use that, then you can say there, put the oven on 180 degrees Celsius, or the stove plate on 4. In cases where we use, like for example, a dessert that is a gelatine dessert, then you can just mention there to put it in the fridge for a few minutes or hours. If we don't use the oven or the temperature of the stove, if we don't use that, just draw a line so that we can see that you know that we don't need to fill that in. Then the one that the kids are struggling a lot with is the cooking method. In this case, we don't mention cooking method like dry cooking method or a moist cooking method. We must indicate bake or fry or simmer or boil. So that is the cooking method that we are looking for there. The courses are also important. This is not the dish that you mentioned there. The course will be the main course, the starter, the dessert. So it's the courses on the menu where we will serve this dish that we made. So that is the first page of this form that you need to complete. And you will also do the same for the second dish. Okay, then we add the list, the ingredient list. This marks will be allocated for incomplete 1 and 2 for complete. And what we are looking for here is that, let's say you just write full cream milk or just milk. There's a huge difference between the description. So let's say, for example, you give this to your mother, and she goes to Spar or Pick n Pay or Checkers or whatever, and she needs to buy these ingredients for you. If she came at the store and she see bananas and not ripe bananas or green bananas or white sugar, and you wrote only sugar, she will not know what to buy for you for the practical. So please indicate and describe the ingredient there. If you just write sugar and milk, you will just get 1 mark. If you write fresh full cream milk or powder milk or white sugar, brown sugar or cake flour, then you'll get 2 marks. And then another question that we always get is general. If you don't know where it is, then you can use the general column for that, and then just write it there. Okay, so that is the ingredient list. The order of work and time schedule is very difficult for the kids and needs to be done properly. So let's go through that quickly. First of all, the time. They don't mention the time. Now, for the PAT, you have 3 hours. So in total, all your work must be done. The preparation, the mise en place, and the closing mise en place must be done in 3 hours. So that time must be 3 hours, not more than 3 hours, and must be practiced at home, because you can't fill that in if you don't practice the PAT at home. So it's very important that you practice the PAT at home before you do your PAT. Okay. Mise en place will be the general mise en place, the apparatus, mise en place, and also your ingredients. So I do describe it there very clearly. First of all, switch on the lights, clean your work surface, take out your apparatus, grease your pan, and measure off all your apparatus, chop it, measure it off before you start with the actual preparation of the recipe. Then we get the preparation of dishes. Now, this is also very important. A lot of kids lose a lot of marks here. And this means that they don't do the preparation of the dishes very properly during that. So we have the preparation of the dishes. Step by step must be written on this preparation. And also integration with your recipe. So in other words, let's say you do the fish cocktail and the apple pie. You will start with the apple pie, and before that you will cook your fish or simmer your fish in the meantime. And then while the fish are simmering and you do your apple pies, then you'll put the apple pies in the oven, and then you will finish your fish cocktail. So you must integrate the recipes there, and also mention each step with the quantities that you use, so that you can know exactly what to do. So let's say, for example, I take your recipes away, then you should be able to use this to prepare your recipes. Then you know you did it properly. And also make sure that all the recipes must be served at the same time, so you can't keep the food warm. So let's say you're done with your fish cocktail and you keep it warm until you use the other recipe is done. So make sure that you do your preparation very well and that all the dishes are served at the same time. Okay, then the plating or the serving. Most of the kids right here just serve the fish and serve the apple pie. That's not what is expected of you. So please indicate serve 200 grams of fillet per person on a main course plate. So mention your apparatus and your dishes, also with your garnishing or your decoration that you're going to use. And then the time also in that column. And then the last one is your closing mise en place. So it will be the same as in the beginning, your general, the apparatus and ingredients. Switch off the lights, close the windows, clean up your surface, wash all your apparatus and put it away. Put all your ingredients away and put it in the storerooms or in your containers, and clean everything in the kitchen. So that is your order of work and your time schedule. That is a very important preparation for the PAT. And like I said, you can't do this properly if you didn't practice this at least once at home. Okay, then this one is also very important. I looked for a few examples here, and what we expect here of you is to look at a few examples on the internet or in recipe books, and then put it or paste it in your task so that we can see you did do some research. And let's say, for example, you're going to use the plating of that sauce with this idea of your chicken cordon bleu or chicken roulade that you're going to use. And then at the end, you use that examples to draw your own planning. And this is the planning for the day when you do your pat. So in other words, if you do that, let's say chicken roulade, then you will do plate of, or on the day when you do your practical, you will plate it like this, and then we know you planned properly if you do it the same. Just take note that the example that we give you is only example, so you don't need to plate it the same way. You can plate it as I explained just now on your own way, but make sure that you do it properly and do some research on how it can be plated. So that's task 11.1. Serena, we can answer a few questions now.
Okay, just quickly want to see. Okay, there's no questions at this stage.
Okay, if there's no questions, please after this webinar, you can ask some questions and we will gladly be helping you with that. So yeah, let's go to task 11.2. That's the practical task, and that is the actual pat that you're going to do on that day. Guidelines, and I want very important so that you know exactly what is expected of you during this practicals. So first of all, this task 11 is 3 hours, and that's for the chef only. The learner should complete the preparation task beforehand and submit it to MPAC for marking. So that will be on the day of MPAC assessment. So in other words, you do your preparation at home and you bring it with, and we will take your tasks and submit it to MPAC to be marked. For the private assessment, they will also do the preparation beforehand and hand it in on that day for the assessor to mark. No late preparations will be accepted. This is a preparation, so therefore we can't take it after the pat. You must bring it along that day and you must submit it already completed. A lot of kids want to complete it on that day. There's no time for that, so you need to do the preparation beforehand at home. Then learners must be dressed properly according to the requirements, so make sure of your chef uniform. We will discuss that in the next slides. Place your recipes in a clear plastic bag so that it remains clean during the pat. So please do that also. It's a very good thing to do and it works very well. Learners must use all the prescribed recipes. So in other words, just take note of this also. You can't take your own recipes. You can't choose your own recipes. We give you prescribed recipes and you need to use that. One of the other points here, just here at the end, is that if there is something in the recipe that is unsuitable for a particular religion group or something, then you can contact me and we will discuss it and see what we can do about it. So you are not allowed to take your own recipes or change the recipes without our permission. So please take note of that. Maybe I can just mention something here. Some of the some of our learners go and do their pats at schools. I know, like for example, Ermelo School, they also always help us with pat, and then they do the school's recipes. But that will be allowed if I approve that pat recipes. So it is allowed, and if you do have something like that or require a request like that, you are welcome to contact me. Then apparatus are supplied by the learners themselves unless stated otherwise in the PAT email. Now this means for the PAT, the impact PAT assessments, we will tell you in the email what you need to bring along on that day because the venues differ. Some of the schools give all the apparatus and some of the schools don't have apparatus for us to use. So just make sure that you take note of that also in your email or the arrangement between you and your private assessor. That will be between you. Ingredients are supplied by the learners. So Impact or the assessors will not supply the ingredients. I know that there is some of the assessors that do supply the ingredients, but that's a arrangement between them and the learner. And most of the time they pay more than the going rate for that. If there are any ingredients, like I said, you are welcome to contact me if it's unsuitable for your religion. And the kids need to bring their own dishcloths, dishwashing liquid, etc., because it will not be supplied by the venue. So make sure you do your planning well and that you bring all your stuff on that day. Then also you need to bring your own container in which you can place your dishes afterwards, because we just plate for one, and then we taste it and we look at the appearance and we give the marks, and after that you take the rest of the food home. All preparations, this is very important, are done at the venue or at the PAT examination. No pre-preparation of ingredients must be done at home, and you can also not buy at the store your Julie hen already cut. So you need to do it in front of the assessor so the assessor can assess you. The photos must be taken on that day. So we also describe the photos that we want from you, but you can submit more. We will also look into that a little bit further in this presentation. So this is the learner's responsibility, but obviously if you are busy cooking or busy doing your waiter PAT, the assessor can help you with this, but the photos do remain your own responsibility, because that is Impact's proof of the PAT and that we did do the assessment. It's very important for us to have that photos. The assessor will assign each learner with a number, especially when there's a big group, so that we can identify you. And no eating and drinking is allowed during the examination. This is a final examination, and so we will handle the examination as a final examination. And no learners must leave the examination room before the assessor grants them permission, or no other person will be allowed during the examination, because only the assessor and the learner is allowed in the room. And then this is a very important point that I want to discuss with you. The parents, the tutors, just take note of this. There are assessors, private assessors, that ask more than this. You are welcome to contact me if you get that they are allowed to ask whatever they want, but there are some of the private assessors that charge quite a lot of money, and it's unnecessary for you to pay that. So the going rate is more or less 750 Rand for both tasks, and that includes impact assessments and private assessments. But like I said, we can't tell private assessors what they can charge you, because it's their own time. But yeah, you as a parent take note, and more or less in that range will be fine. If it's 2,000 for one PAT, then you know you need to contact me so that we can talk to that assessor, please. So that is the general guidelines for the PAT. Now on that day, you have to bring your barcoded task covers for both PAT tasks. Remember, I said that you can do both PATs on one day, and that will be then your chef, which is task 11.1, 11.2, and your waiter 12.1, 12.2. That's why we say both barcoded tasks. You also need to bring your mark sheets for both PAT tasks so that the assessor can fill that in and also sign it for you to submit with your tasks. And the photos will be taken on that day. We already said that. Then also you need to bring your own ingredients and your prescribed recipes as discussed in the general guidelines. You also need to bring extra necessities like foil, spray and cook, wax paper, because the venues won't supply that if you forget it. So please make sure that you make a list before your PAT, and you make sure that you take everything to the venue on that day. You also need to bring along your written preparation, already completed at home, so that we can submit it and mark it. And then enough containers for your food to take home. We did discuss that in the general guidelines. And then 3 drying cloths, your soap, your sponges, etc. And just take note. And then also correct uniform. And it should look like this, more or less. this guidelines is in your tasks. Make sure it's closed shoes, comfortable, your jean, your apron, your white t-shirt or your white shirt, it's fine. And then your chef hat must be wear without jewelry, a beard or makeup for the girls. So that's the chef uniform. Okay, for grade 11 this year, where can you find your recipes? Like I said in the beginning, task 11.1 is your preparation and 11.2 is your practical. So you will find the recipes in 11.2, practical part, and you need to use that recipes for filling in your preparation of task 11.1. Now for this year, you will do the apple pie and you will do the fish cocktail. And that is the two recipes that you will do during your examination. Okay, let's just go through the mark sheets quickly so that you can see and on the mark sheet what will be assessed on that day. So there's a few sections that we are going to look at, and that is hygiene and neatness, opening mise en place, and your culinary skills, of course. So yeah, in the first one, make sure that your clothes or your uniform is correct because you'll lose quite a lot of marks there, which will be unnecessary if you don't dress according to the guidelines. The neatness of your workstation, the neatness of the sinks, your dishcloth not lying around, and also the kitchen waste, handle it correctly, otherwise you'll lose marks. I will show you a little bit more in the photos that we are going to discuss. About the neatness of the workstation, etc. Then this is also something that the kids don't do. Take out your necessary equipment and get yourself ready. Do all the mise en place of the ingredients and also chop the onions and grate the cheese with the correct skills and then arrange it in order. We don't see that very often and you need to do that, otherwise your mise en place is not done properly. Then we look at the cooking methods, your techniques, your skills. How do you work in the kitchen? Are you working safely? And are you your interpretation well of the recipes, your logic work procedure, and at the end, all the dishes must be complete at the same time. So you can't keep something warm or are busy with something and just complete that and then you do the next one. So your integration and your skills are very important here. Then this last one, ability to finish without questions or assistance. If we use a venue which you are not familiar with, then you are allowed to ask questions about the oven or the fridge or whatever. But if you ask questions about the recipe, then we will subtract marks there. So just take a note of that point there on the mark sheet. And then we will look at your punctuality, we will look at your assistance and are you helping us with the venue, cleaning up at the end, are you assisting the other learners, are you talking to other learners and all those things during the PAT, which are not allowed, so we will just mark you on that for the professionalism. And then at the end, we will ask you to help us to put everything away, clean your workstation and leave it as we got it from the beginning. And yeah, then we will assess your dishes, which will be 15 marks each, and that is 30 of your 75 marks, which are very important. And that's why it's very important to do your planning properly so that you can serve and plate it very well for us so that you can get a lot of marks. So that is the mark sheet. So please refer to that so that you can see what needs to be assessed. And then I just want to look at a few photos. We do describe the photos for you, but let's go through a few. I just took some apparatus and just put it into a photo for you to see. So we want to know, did you take out all your apparatus before you start with your preparation? In other words, your mise en place for the apparatus. Did you do your mise en place for the ingredients? You want to see that. Then your dish, if it's done, we need a photo from you. And just take note, I cut off this face here, but we need you with the dish and your face so that we can see you didn't use the internet photo and you won't believe it, but some of the kids do use internet photos, and we can see that very clearly. So don't try to do that. Use your own ingredients, your own dishes and your own photos, and submit that for us, please. And then a few other photos, your work surface, you can see that one is very untidy and disorganized. Maybe some of your techniques, we can see it there. Your dishcloths, your basin, your oven gloves, the full length photo that we need for the uniform, and you will see that work surface also, they are very untidy and unorganized, so that kid won't get a lot of marks for that. And then also your dishes, which are very important. Just take note that your background is also important, so that we can see your dish very clearly, and it also brings out the color of your dishes. Take note of the basin there, hot soapy water, the water for rinsing, and then clean as you go is the correct thing to do. So while you're busy, wash your dishes, rinse it and put it there so that you can just pack it away at the end of the practical session. Okay, if there are any questions about the practicals, we can allow questions now, Serena.
Okay. First one here is, how do I find an assessor for the PAT?
Okay, in this webinar, I said there's an email address, assessors@impact.co.za. So you can send an email there so that we can send you a list of already approved assessors. Maybe there's one in your area already. If there's not one on the list, then you can maybe contact a school in your area if you know someone at the school and try to organize with them. If you are struggling, you are welcome to contact me so that I can help you with that. So that is the two ways that you can find an assessor.
Okay, with regards to the changing of the recipes, can I use my own or interpret my own spices?
Okay, we will allow that. You can't just change the recipes, the whole recipe, but if you add 1 or 2 spices or make it better, that will not be a problem.
Okay, then the mise en place form only have 4 lines to write something, but usually there's 10 things to write down. What should I do if there's not enough space?
Okay, the space is always a problem on the forms. You are allowed to add an extra page or just make an extra copy of that page and just fill it in. So we do allow that, but just make sure that we know exactly what is the information that you are writing on the form. Just indicate very clearly what information it is.
Okay, then with regards to the ingredients list, is the general column only for apparatus, or can I put foods in like oil, mayonnaise, and eggs?
Yes, just remember the ingredient list is exactly what it said. It's a list of ingredients, so not apparatus, please. So it's only for wax paper, foil, and so on. And if you're not sure, mayonnaise will fit to one of the other columns. So just make sure if it doesn't fit to one of the other columns, then you can put it in the general one. If you're not sure.
Okay, this question is in Afrikaans. Hoe werk die foto's as impakassesseur?
Goed, ek gaan hierdie in Afrikaans antwoord, want is Afrikaanse leerder wat dalk hierdie vraag gevra het. Wanneer impak, en dis die voordeel wanneer jy impak assesserings gebruik. Ons neem self die foto's, ons print dit uit en ons merk die take en ons handig dit by impak in. So jy het geen verdere bekommernisse oor daai pad nie. Ons handel alles vir jou mooi af en jy kom doen jou pad en dan bekommer jy glad nie meer oor daai pad nie. So dis die voordeel van die impak assessering. So ons neem dit self op daai dag met ons eie kameras en ons sit dit vir julle in die take. I can just maybe repeat that in English. The photos during the sessions, the impact assessments, we will take the photos. So we have our own cameras and we will take the photos, print it, add it to your tasks and then submit it to impact.
Okay, that's the only questions at this stage.
Okay, thank you, Serena. So this brings us to the end of this session. If you're not registered with Impact, please contact us at info@impact.co.za so that we can assist with anything. about our business or the homeschooling department. And then I just want to thank everybody for joining us with this webinar. If you have any other questions, please contact us or drop your questions in the question box so that we can answer you. I thank you, and just be patient with the lockdown, and especially with the PAT. Don't worry about the PAT at the moment. We still have a lot of time to do it. So yeah, and good luck. Thank you.